Hello everyone and welcome back to Cavaibe. First, before starting with the video today, I want to thank everybody that is supporting my channel, even though that we may be not that good in the thing that we're doing, but you continue supporting and that's something very appreciated. I just want you to subscribe to the channel because most of you guys that come and watch our videos are not subscribed, and please hit the subscribe button. Remember that it's free and you only have to hit it and nothing will change. And now that we are here in the video, I just wanted to point that we were doing some stuff in between episodes, so we don't be doing always the same in all the videos. Like this thing over here, that we managed to turn off all the lights from the street that we had like this, and we put our own lighting in here, something like this, a little bit of green and something more appealing to the area. And another thing that we did was to finish the third stage of Barlow's Hills, and I just did this because I didn't want it to be doing the same stuff in every video. So I finished this area and it's mostly the same that we had in Barlow's Hills stage 2. The only change that we're gonna have is that we gave a self-sufficient specialization for this residential area. And one thing that I wanted to mention is that this type of building consumes less electricity, produce less garbage, but also generates less tax income. So an advice from me to you is to be careful and don't get very greedy with this type of building. It's true that they have a different appealing, but they also can get your city to bankrupt because they don't pay that much in tax. We already have a big portion of area filled with this type of buildings. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that we expand the farming industry because we weren't not leveling up, and that was because the farming industry was too small. So now we doubled the amount of producers that we have, and we also built 3 more small pastures so we can start maybe making some money, because right now we are, let me see, we are losing money from these industries, mainly because we are not exporting anything, and that's because we don't have enough crops. But I think that we're going to be starting to producing enough and maybe starting to export something and making some more money. One thing that I want to address in this episode is the power issue that we are experimenting. For that, I'm going to build over here like a dedicated area for electricity that is going to be changing in the time, because we already have 5 diesel generators, and these are not going to be the ones that will remain all the time, because we want to get at some point time of the build to a self-sufficient city. But by now we're going to be sticking to what we have, because we don't want to drain our money trying to build something too fancy at this time. We're gonna start by giving these guys a road to get to the power plants, and we're going to build the secondary roads with the 1U industrial roads. And now we want to move the diesel power plants that we have to this area in here. One thing that I like about this type of plant is that they look like modular. They look like they were meant to be placed like this, and in the meantime that we are building something a little bit better, they at least will look very good. Let's bring these guys and girls some water so they don't complain too much about that. And now for continuing the build, I downloaded some assets from the Steam Workshop. These are mostly green energy producers. We're going to be building these 3 solar panel farms. They provide 7 megawatts each one, but the big deal is that they don't cost us too much for upkeep, and that's one thing that is going to be very appreciated. We maybe wanted to move this a little bit more to the front and to the side, and I think that this is going to be it by now, because we are producing enough energy. In the near future, we're gonna turn this down and build something more eco-friendly. One thing that I forgot to mention is that I also continue building this tram line that comes all the way through here and doing a loop in this area of the city. And we also gave these lovely folks a path directly to a tram stop so they can use it and they can go around the city. The main idea of this in here is that we're gonna have stops very near to the entrance of the park, so they can come inside the park, go across the bridge, and then get out of the park, maybe go visit those guys that live in here, or maybe take the tram and go around the city. That's the main idea that we have. So right now, the other thing that we want to do is to build a commercial area in here, and as you can see, we don't have too much space to build it just in front of this area here, because we have this grid, and as we start filling up the grid, they will face the main avenue, and that's something that we don't want. In order for us to solve this issue, we just wanna use the picker mode and select the same road that we have. Let's turn road collision off so we don't ruin anything, and we're gonna disable zoning as we start upgrading these roads in here. And as you're gonna see, they will stop having the grid. That means that nobody will be able to zone to the front of this. So now we have enough space. The other thing that we're going to be using in here is these 3U roads that we download from the Steam Workshop that have these parking spaces built to the side, so it will serve us like parkings and street. That's one thing that people will love in this area. So first we did this loop over here, and now we're going to be placing the parking. We for this only need to use the same parking that we use, not for the big parking space, the ones that we use it for this type of parking, these ones that are only the marks. I think that this is going to be it. So another thing that we want to do is to provide these guys with a crossing path from these streets to the shopping area that we are building in here. We maybe want to snap only to the grid. This can make things easier. Now that we have these two paths in here, we're gonna use our node controller to build crossings in here. And maybe wanted to remove some of the nodes that are in between, so we don't cause any issue. Another thing that we maybe gonna have to do is to remove some of the parking space, so people don't park in the middle of the crossing. So right now, one thing that I wanna check is that I provide these guys with a street only for delivering stuff into here, and I'm going to be using a 1U road. And as I can see, I have disabled zoning I had disabled zoning on, so we don't have zones in here. Before we do that, let's force zone in here so we can enable the zone. And now we can see all the grid and stuff that we have in here. Now I realize that I don't have enough space for the road that needs to come from the back of the buildings in here. But maybe I wanted to build this like this, and maybe put something a little bit bigger in this area over here. So right now I'm gonna continue with this. Okay, and this area over here is not gonna be used. We only want to use these ones that are 3 units. And now we're gonna paint the commercial area in here, and we can have 2-unit commercial over here. For this in front in here, I just want housing in here. And now we're gonna see that there's going to be something growing. We need to have a few changes over here, but we need them to grow all in order for us to make those changes. So right now we're gonna focus on building the other commercial area over here. And one thing that I want to do in here is to give these guys an exclusive zone. Why? Because we will be using a different team for this area in here. We're going to be able to do that with the team manager over here. In between episodes I had done this already. We had to enable team manager, and I done this team is the commercial special one. Let's see what we have in here. Let's hit the team manager and let's tell them to display only the include buildings. As you can see, we only have the ones that are 4 units long. That's because we want to be able to put the deliveries to the back. And if we have ones that are 2x3, 2x2, 1x2, these buildings will not get to the other side of the street. That's why we download it and select all the buildings that were 2x4 and 3x4 and 4x4 only. These are the type of building that will spawn in this area over here. Residential, we're gonna have residential commercial areas in here. We wanna unpaint exclusively this area here, because this is mainly 2x2 and 2x1 that will be able to spawn in here. But in here we're not gonna give them this street for the deliveries, so we don't have any problem with that. And as we did in the other side, we're gonna be putting residential in this area here. Now let's put the parking spaces so people can start parking. Okay, so as these guys start building up, let's go to this area in here that we already have built. And as we can see, we have a lot of people parked in here, and guys are parking in the back. That's good too. Now we want to give everyone move the deliveries from the front, because let me see if we have a truck in here. We don't have yet trucks, but trucks will start coming through the trees and going through the stores, and that's one thing that we don't want to see, because it's not how it is in real life. What we're going to be using is building spawning points. This mod can change the area where the delivery comes. In here we can see that is maybe in the right area. We can take it back a little bit. Let's get back so they don't stop in the middle of the street. And one thing that I want to do to all the stores is to give them dedicated spawning points for some other of the vehicles that will spawn in here. We maybe one in this side, we maybe want only hearses, garbage trucks, not fire trucks, no ambulances, no police, no taxi, cargo trucks, and no disaster response. For this, we're gonna take out these ones, these three that we have: garbage, cargo, and hearses, and we're going to be moving the spawn point to the front, because that's gonna be realistic. You're not gonna see a taxi, you're calling a taxi and he's gonna come through the side or through the cargo area. They're going to come through the front to pick you up. And now we want to copy this and come to every building and give this guy their spawn points. So I'm gonna be changing that. It's gonna take me some time, and I'm gonna be back in a moment. Okay, we have done this area already, and as we can see, these trucks are spawning in the back, and that's what we want to see. We don't have, let me see where this truck is going to go. Let's follow this guy so we see where he's going to be going, and that's gonna tell us if we did our task. No, our task wasn't done correct, so we had to change this once again and see if we get it to work. Yeah, right now we can see that we are maybe having our goal being doing in here. We have trucks in the back, but what we did to get this to work was to ban trucks from this street over here. And I see that this is gonna cost us some problems because we're gonna have to have deliveries to these guys over here. Maybe that's a problem. And I'm gonna delete the restriction right on because this is the only way that these guys can have their deliveries. But as we can see, let me check this out. Everybody who's coming to deliver something to these guys are coming to the back, and that's what we want to see. Let's go and do this to this other commercial area in here, and I'm gonna be back in a moment. We also in here have an option for applying this setup to all the buildings of this type, but we are not going to use it because we can have this building in this area that we have prepared for this type of delivery, but we can also have it in these other areas because these ones that are not teamed, they can spawn any type of building that is in the game include, and we don't want to ruin these buildings. We even have this building that we have in here, we have it in this area, we have it over here. So if we apply this setup using this button to all the buildings, like this one is gonna be applied to the other one, and that can cause problem in this area over there. Right now we see we have demand for more of this area, so we're going to build over here, and let's see what we can get from this area. Okay, now that we have this area almost built, we are going to give this guy some spawning points. And one thing that we can do is to come here and copy these ones from these faults, and we can paste it, not this one. We want to copy one of these ones, and we're gonna paste it, and we're gonna do the same to all the buildings. Okay, and now we have the spawn points already done, and maybe we can review this area in here and have a little ride. Let's take one of these guys and let's go in first camera. And as we can see, this is very nice. We have, let me see, we have some floating cars in these parkings. I really don't know why this happens. If someone knows, you can tell me in the comments. And this one is gonna park as well. No, he came to deliver something. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today. we have an amazing time, and I hope that you enjoy. Maybe you can have some ideas for your own city from what you saw in this build in here. So by now I just want you to remember you that you can subscribe to the channel. That can help me to grow my channel and to be able to continue doing these videos and maybe help you to play this game in a more efficient way and maybe to enjoy the game a little bit more. So without further ado, see you in the next episode. Bye bye.